Welcome. Today we're going to dive into a story about incredible loss and about an unbreakable spirit. It's about a general who had everything taken from him, only to discover his greatest strength in the one place nobody could ever conquer, his own mind. Listen and try to follow the story as it unfolds. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word. Focus on the feeling. Let's begin. Okay, so let's put ourselves in this moment. You're in a dark tunnel, deep underground, and the air, well, it smells of dry earth, of dust, and something cold and metallic like iron. This is the new reality for our hero. And from just outside, there's this sound, a noise so huge it feels like a physical thing pressing in on you. It's not cheering. No, it's a roar. The sound of a giant crowd that isn't waiting for a hero, they're waiting for blood. And this really shows you the heart of the story, doesn't it? On one side, you have the man he was, General Maximus, a leader, a husband, a father, respected. And on the other side, what he's become, a slave, betrayed, with absolutely everything that defined him just gone. And then, that sound, the slow, heavy creak of the gates starting to open. A sliver of blinding sunlight cuts through the darkness. And with it comes the reality of what's about to happen. There is no going back now. Now, you would think he'd be terrified, right? I mean, who wouldn't be? But here's what's so incredible. As he steps out onto that sand, he doesn't feel panic. Instead, something else takes over. A deep, quiet calm. A stillness right in the center of the storm. You have to understand, to every single person in that stadium, he isn't even a man anymore. He's not General Maximus. He's just a thing, an object for their entertainment. Something to be broken for a few moments of fun. They've completely taken away his humanity. And he whispers these 3 words to himself. It's a command he used to shout to his soldiers on the battlefield, telling them to stand firm together. But now that command is for his own spirit. He's telling himself, do not break. Do not fall apart. And the chaos out there it's almost unbelievable. It's not a fair fight. It's a slaughter. You've got swords clashing everywhere, men screaming and falling, even chained tigers roaring. The whole thing is designed for him to lose. The odds are impossible. So what do you do when everything around you is out of your control? Well, here's the key. Maximus goes to the one place he can control. Some people call this the inner citadel or the inner fortress. It's that part of you that nobody can ever truly touch. Your thoughts, your principles, your will to keep going. And this is the source of all his strength. See, he knows he can't stop the emperor from being cruel. He can't silence the crowd. But he can control how he fights. He can control his own breath. He can control whether he acts with honor. And that power, that is his and his alone. Now, his master, Proximo, had given him this piece of advice. And on the surface, it just sounds like, be a good showman. But Maximus is about to understand this on a much, much deeper level. And this is where it all clicks for him. He has this powerful realization. Freedom isn't about escaping the Colosseum. It's not a physical place. Real freedom? It's his resolve. It's his inner strength. It's something he can have right here, right now, even while he's still in chains. So when he finally wins the battle and screams this at the crowd, it's not a real question. It's an accusation. He's basically holding up a mirror to them, forcing them to look at their own cruelty. He's showing them that even though he fought, he is not their toy. And that right there is his true victory. They took his rank, his home, his family, but they couldn't take the man himself. In his mind, in his spirit, he was still the general he'd always been. His true identity was completely untouchable. Okay, so let's bring this amazing lesson into our own lives. We might not be gladiators, but we all face arenas we didn't choose, don't we? A sudden challenge, an unfair situation, a painful loss that just comes out of nowhere. Life can be really hard sometimes. It can take away your job, your title, it can take your money, your things, your comfort. But there's one thing it can never take away from you, unless you let it. And that's your inner citadel, your character, your will. So maybe this is the biggest takeaway of all. Real strength isn't about avoiding the fight. It's about being able to stand there, right in the middle of the dust and the chaos of your own arena, and choosing to fight on with a spirit that cannot be broken. And that leaves us with something to think about. When you face your own challenges, what is that core part of you, your beliefs, your honor, your integrity, that you will protect no matter what? In the arena of your life, what is the fortress you will defend? Now, the story itself is powerful, for sure, but the real magic, it's hidden in the words. We're going to unpack some key phrases that give this story its soul. And these aren't just vocabulary words, they're tools. Tools you can use to build and talk about your own inner strength. So, let's get started. Okay, our first phrase is stripped of. It sounds pretty harsh, doesn't it? That's because it is. It means to have something taken away from you completely, often by force. It's that feeling of being left with absolutely nothing. Okay, let's practice this one. I'll say it, then you say it. Ready? Stripped of. Now, here's a sentence you can try. Repeat after me. After the scandal, the CEO was stripped of his position. So what was he stripped of? Everything he held dear. This is such a warm phrase. It refers to the people, the memories, the beliefs that you cherish more than anything else, the things you keep close to your heart. Ready to try it? Let's go. To hold dear. Great. Now for the full sentence. Freedom of speech is a right that many citizens hold dear. All right, now I want you to picture the gladiator walking into the arena for the first time. The sound that hits him is deafening. This word describes a noise that is so incredibly loud, it just blocks out everything else. You can't even think. Let's say the word. Deafening. Good. Now try the sentence. The thunder was so deafening that it woke up the entire neighborhood. In that arena, to the people watching, he wasn't really a person. He was just a pawn, you know? Like the piece in a chess game. It means you're being used by someone more powerful for their own game. And you feel like you have no say, no control at all. Let's practice this one. A pawn. Okay, in the sentence, he realized he was just a pawn in his manager's plan to get promoted. So let's just pause here and think about this. This sound is deafening. The crowd sees him as nothing but a pawn. Everything is against him. What does he do? He does something incredible. He doesn't look at the crowd. He doesn't even focus on his enemy. He turns his attention inward. And that single choice, right there, changes everything. And that choice leads us to our next phrase, which is perfect for these kinds of moments. Against all odds. This means you succeed at something that everyone thought was completely impossible. Okay, your turn. Against all odds. Excellent. Now the full sentence. Against all odds, she passed the exam after missing a month of classes. So how do people manage to win against all odds? Well, it often comes down to this next word, resolve. Resolve isn't just a decision. It's a deep, powerful determination that comes from inside. It's that inner voice that says, I am not giving up. Let's say this one with some strength. Ready? Resolve. Perfect. And now the sentence, despite constant rejections, his resolve to become a published author never weakened. And what's the opposite of having resolve? It's to yield. To yield means to give in, to surrender to the pressure. It's exactly what his enemies wanted him to do. Let's practice it. To yield. Good. Now, let's use it in an example about not yielding. The company refused to yield to the demands of the aggressive competitors. This brings us to my favorite concept in this whole lesson. It's a beautiful metaphor, the inner citadel. A citadel is like a fortress, right? So your inner citadel is that protected space inside your mind, your spirit, that no person and no event can ever break into. Let's say this one together. Inner citadel. Fantastic. And here's how you might use it in your own life. Meditation helps me build my inner citadel, keeping me calm when work gets stressful. You see, all these words, they're not just random vocabulary. They're the building blocks of a whole mindset. This story is really a lesson in Stoicism. The gladiator lost everything on the outside, but he was never truly defeated because he knew that real strength comes from the inside. And this is where it all comes back to us, to you. Facing any big challenge, learning a new skill, starting a new job, can feel like stepping into your own kind of arena. The fear of failure, the worry about what people think, that noise in your own head can be just as deafening as any crowd. But here's the lesson. Progress is never about being perfect. It's about your resolve. It's about refusing to yield when things get tough. It's about knowing that you can always retreat to that strong, quiet place inside you, your inner citadel. So I'll leave you with a question. We all have our arenas to face. What's yours? And how are you choosing to face it? I want you to think about finishing this sentence for yourself. Even when the odds are against me, I choose to. Because whatever you put after that, that choice is your true power.